Okay. Now let's create a new project. So you guys go to your file and new assembly project, and then I think yesterday you created it already, right? So let me give it
Yes.
int_test, then next, and then collection name is the same and finish. So it created, and this look and feel will be different because it's iOS. So just don't think that why you are not able to see your stuff like this. So this is test, and if you double click on your assembly, it will be this blank thing here. This is where you will do your integration stuff, right? Designing and all that. Yesterday, what we covered, we just saw the different tabs that we have: Project Explorer. Then if you click on the assembly, that's the main area where you do connect your components and all that. Palette is the place where you have different components, and then different tabs here. Cloud Explorer is the one where you use to connect to the cloud. Then you have the problems tab. It tell you about any errors or warnings. Properties is something whenever you open a component, click on that and comes to the property tab. That's where you do the configuration. XPath Explorer is more about once you have an XML file, it helps you in finding the XPath of a particular field. Schema Explorer is for the Workday Web Services. And Process Monitor and Consolidated Report Viewer is something when you run the integration from Studio. These two tabs help you in checking the status and the performance. Yep, that's what we covered yesterday.
Yeah.
So it was a quick summary. Now let's see how it works. Let me try searching this int_test. Do I have anything here? I have so many integrations with this name. But it's MasterCard and all that. So I think, let me change the name. How do we change the name? It is, click on this, right click, and then there is something called refactor, and then rename. Okay, I will say test_studio. So it will just rename it. Rename the project.
Okay.
Okay. Now, whenever you have to start a Workday integration, it always starts with a Workday in component. So this is the very first component that every integration will have, right? And whenever by default you drag and drop it, the name which it shows on here is called start here, right? So that's the place from where the integration starts. Yeah. After that, you have so many components like this and that, and it can be anywhere, right? You just drag and drop, it goes anywhere. But then to make it look beautiful, right? One thing which I recommend and everybody should do is you use a swim lane. Swim lane helps you in formatting or aligning the components. So then you drag and drop your stuff into the swim lane. Now, if you have your studio open, I want you to try. Just play around, put things here like this. It will automatically align.
Okay.
Okay. And then once you click on the swim lane and go to the properties part of it, you will see the different options here. By default, it is horizontal, meaning any component you will drag and drop in a swim lane will go horizontal. But you can change it. You can do a vertical one, right? And alignment, again, you can change the medium one, plus you can fill colors also. right? Fill color. Close that. Fill color. I'll choose this one. How do I select it? Oh, but you guys will have very simple. Oh, it got it there, right? So that's the colors. Okay, and same is the font. Font you see here, swim lane. You can change that and make it big and bold, and that's it. Close. Okay, so this helps him. Now, say you want these two components to be in horizontal and this one in parallel. Then what do? You can have a swim lane within a swim lane. So you put a swim lane and then you put the two components into that and make that as like this one is horizontal and this one is vertical. Right? So that's how you can align stuff. Okay, let me delete. Now let me start with again Workday in. But before that, what I'll do is I'll put a swim lane, put this one into this, and then all the components in Workday you can rename. Now the swim lane, I will write it. It is the test studio integration. Okay, I can make it this one as bold 12 and close. Okay, now let's see the start here. Start here, you can also change the name. Just same like your file name change. Any file name on your desktop, you change it by clicking on it twice, right? Same thing, integration starts here. Like this. Whatever. Okay, now once you click on this start here component, which is Workday in, you see first is the common, which is nothing there. Then advanced. So you see here integration system name. Whatever thing you will mention here will be the name of the integration in the tenant. Okay, now here I'll put it int space test space studio, right? So this name can have spaces, but a component name cannot have spaces. An integration, a project name cannot have spaces. But if you want your integration name to be in a very specific one, spaces and all that stuff, this is the place. Okay, so I want you to pay a close attention to the name of the project that we have created. It is int_test_studio. While in this start here, in the advanced tab, we have the integration name as int space test space studio. Yeah. And then you have the launch parameters. So this is the place where we can add launch parameters. We will do it later, not now. And then we have different services which we can enable, right? So we have attribute and map service, delivery service, listener, and all that stuff. We don't use retrieval and delivery service here. We do it via business process on the front end. But yes, attribute and map service is very common. Sequence generator is common. Transaction log now. Report service, yes. Custom object service, yeah, medium. And then data initialization, no. Service reference. We will see that as we see the use cases. But yeah, so first component is this, right? And then there is another component which you need to remember is this put integration message, right? When you drag and drop this one, it by default selects severity and summary. You just have to click on finish. And then on this property of this one, you see message severity as info and summary as whatever message you want. So you put integration message is used to show a message on the integration event. Okay, when you see an integration completed, what does it show? It shows either successfully completed or completed with warning or completed with errors, right? Okay, and then so and then the summary here. Summary is something what you want to show, the message. So you put it here in quotes and then put any message. Integration completed nicely. I'll put this one, right? And then severity, it can be info. Info means integration will complete successfully. If you put error, integration will complete with error. If you put warning, integration will complete with warning. Now you will say, how do we know this? What to put? So every component here has a help thing at the bottom. So if you click on
Yes,
that,
yes.
it will open up. Right now it's opening up for me here. But if you click on it, it will open up it in Studio. Okay, so the put integration message, if I come to the summary, this one, here it is. So you can put critical error info warning. Now let's start with info. Okay, I'll keep this info and keep this one. And this one I will have to use, can just put your mouse on this component. It shows up 2 arrows and then you have to just drag and connect it to the next one. That's it. Okay, and then I'll click on save. Right, so it's connected and saved. Now for this integration which I've created is on my local, right?
Yeah.
I have to put it in the cloud. Yeah, so let me first go to the tenant and show you that do I have int test anything studio. There is nothing as studio, right? So now let me deploy it. How to deploy an integration is you click on that project and then click on this button here at the top, deploy to Workday, or you do a right click and then you will have deploy to Workday. Okay, so you can do it either ways. Click on that, select your tenant to which you are connected, click on next, and then make sure that your project is here and then click on finish. Right, it will give you the first time that it is your responsibility what you are deploying and all that, and you have to say, oh, I agree, because you have no other option. And then it will show a pop-up at the bottom right saying deployed. Yeah, now if you go to the tenant and just click on enter here, now it should show up. Right, now if you see the name of the integration is int space test space studio, right? What is the name here in this property? Show property view, in the advanced it is int space test space studio, right? So this is that name. So if I click on it, it says it's a cloud integration template, meaning it is a studio. Whenever the integration template is cloud integration, it is studio. Now if you see here, cloud collection studio project, it is int underscore test underscore studio, which is nothing but our project name. Okay, so that means the project name is something which gets uploaded here. So this is where you see the clar, right?
Yeah.
.clar cloud archive file, which has everything, the executables. Okay, now since we have done this integration, now let's try running it. So if you know how to run it, is integration launch. Okay, click on OK and refresh. It should complete very quickly. Okay, refresh, it should be done. So now if you see the status is completed, right? And if I click on the messages, it says integration completed nicely. And now let me change this one. So every time you do any change, you have to deploy. So properties, and you go to put integration message, advanced, instead of info, I will now put it as error. Okay, and I will save it and I will deploy it. Right, so now you guys have to try this. Try, the more you deploy, the more you change and do stuff, it will help you. It'll remove your fear of studio, else it will be a big thing. Now if I launch it, okay, I will take more time in the basics, building your fundamentals. Then after that, it'll be easy. Learning the alphabets, ABCDs takes time, but then after that, reading books will be easy. So now if you see, it's completed with error. And why it completed with error? Because the put integration message has the severity as error, right? So if you now do it warning, save it, and then deploy it, right? Right, so now if I have to just relaunch this one, okay. Now you see it will complete with warning. So it says completed with warning and the message is nicely.
Okay.
Yep. Now let's see this. This one I want you guys to see. Say it's a very common thing as you're writing it, right? Suppose you missed the spelling, right? Instead of warning, you wrote warring, and
Okay.
then you deploy it, and then you run, right? This is something which I want you to face. These are the common errors which people do while building, while testing. Now it's deployed and integration launch. Okay. Let's see what's the status will be. So completed with errors right away. And what does it say? It says integration failed. The local in transport put integration message property name is has failed using expression critical debug error info contains something different, right? So this is how
Yeah.
Workday delivered messages. By reading this, you should know that, okay, there is some issue with my is message dot severity property. So straight away you will go there and you will know that, okay, it is here, is message severity. Let me change it to warning. Then save it and then deploy again. Every time you do a change, it has to be deployed. Okay, now let's see one more thing of this start here prop thing. You see the launch parameters. What is a launch parameter? Like when you run a report, you get something prompts, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Same thing in integration. You can give user that ability that, okay, when someone runs it, he should be prompted for some values. Like if you have run core connector worker integration, it has these dates parameter, right?
Yes.
Same stuff here. So, but here we can configure our own. Let me show you now. So click on the plus here. So you have three types here. One is the simple type, one is the reference type, and third is the enumeration type, right? So simple type, let's see. So you give a name, like what parameter do you want? I want it to be, say, a date or say from date. Okay. Then type, you have to select, okay, it's a date. Then default value, if you want to give any, you can give, else you can leave, right? Then now say I want an enumeration type, right? You can give select value, right? Enumeration num type name. So here you say you can add the values here. Say Monday, Tuesday, say, okay, I keep these three. And then you have another type, which is this one, reference type. Here, say you want something from the tenant, right? A drop down from the workday values. For example, say you have gender, right? So for gender, what will be the value? In your tenant, you will have some configuration values, right? So say you want the user to choose that. So in that case, what you do is you click on this and then put your field. Oh, it's not here. Not here, but put it here in the name. Or just put CRF name and then put gender and next. It will search for the all the gender fields related to that. Then and you can read the description. General as gender associated with what, gender associated with what, gender of a worker. So let's check that. If I click on next, it says male, female not declared. Okay, yep, fine, finish. Now I'll say Control S, I'll save it and then deploy it. Since as of now, I'm not implementing any functionality, I just want to show you how the launch parameters will look like.
Okay.
Okay, now it says failed. It's error returned 500 validation error. The entered value does not meet the restrictions defined for this field. Now this kind of error is something very weird. You are getting it while deploying, right? So what I can do is I can select to add a new entry. What is this? Let me delete this one, save it again, and then deploy. Save. Select this and finish. Now let's see. Okay, now it's deployed. I think this was an error. So how to do it? Here, there is this preferences. I don't know. I'm also a Windows user, but this one is my personal one. So, but yeah, that's fine. If you don't have it, you have to manually include it and then select this one and finish. Okay, now see, let's try running it. Right, so this is your integration. You go to related action and then launch. Now, once I click on OK, you see it is asking me the date inputs. Yep, and then here you see all the values which I gave as enumeration is coming. And then OK, and done. Then it will run the normal one. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Now the main logic that will happen is, say you have got this one, but then how to read this? Yeah, because if say the launch parameter is there, it will make sense only if you are using it in your logic somewhere, right? Else it is of no use. So now we will see, I think we'll start it tomorrow, of how to what code to write there and all that stuff.
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you know that in any general coding, we do this, right? Handling, and if there is any error, we do handle that, catching of errors, right?
Yeah.
So for that one, there is a component, and you have to, whatever integration you're doing, you have to just drag and drop it here. No connection needed. And it's called global error handler. This one. You have to just drag and drop it here. And next and finish. That's it. And to better make it look good, it's always put it in a swim lane. Yep, so put it here and then just and name this swim lane as global error handler, right? So what happens is, if say in case you have not done any error handling in this, some unhandled error occurs, it will be handled via this, and your integration will show that message. So it's mostly a Workday delivered stuff. Okay, and to make them again align, now if you see, the swim lane can also go anywhere. So what normally we do is we have a master swim lane outside, and then we put every swim lane into that, all right, and make it as vertical like this. Swim lanes, and then the global error handler. Two things always need to be there. And then my kind of stuff is, I generally fill a color in this one, probably an orange one, just to make sure that it is a error handler, or you can make it red and all that. Okay, now tomorrow, what we will start tomorrow is the basic understanding of how the message flows from in a studio from one component to another. We will spend good amount of time on that logic, because that's the basic. That basic thing is not clear to most of the studio developers. But if you understand that, it'll be very helpful in designing the integration. Okay. Normally, so when you see these arrows, right? So that means this is a flow of a message. Something will happen here and then it will go there. Something will happen and go there. In this, we will see how to declare variables, how to copy the message, and all that stuff. We will see that. And apart from that, what else? Yes, one more important stuff is exporting and importing. Importing of a clar, exporting of a clar. Right? So if you have a tenant, right, you can directly go to your clar there and then click on it, it will get downloaded, right? So now wherever it is downloaded, you can go to your studio and then right click on your project explorer and import, and then again the browse and the same class, select it, and it will get imported in your stuff. Okay, that's how you do when say an integration is developed by someone else and now you have to work on it. That's the one way of doing it, right? What's the other way? You go to Cloud Explorer. Now the tenant to which you are connected, right? You click on that arrow on the left. What it will show is all the integrations that are there in this tenant, all the studio integrations, right? And if you want to deploy one of them into, or bring one of them into your Project Explorer, you just click on that, right click and import source. And now this clar, once you click on finish, it will come into your. Okay, so clear so far how to import clars, how to export clars, how to see what all integrations are there in the tenant, then the global error handler, start here, and the put integration message. So now what I want you guys to do is try doing all these stuff, especially the put integration message, and put all the 4 types: info, save it, deploy it, run it, then warning, save it, deploy it, and run, error, save, deploy, run. That way you will get to know stuff, and then also you'll get the fluency and the confidence of deploying and running. And one more thing is, I forgot to tell, is you can run this from Studio itself. And then to run this, you have to go to your Cloud Explorer and find your integration, which is this one, right? Then again, click on this arrow. Again, this arrow, and then until you get to the start here component. Then do a right click and launch integration, right? Now launch integration, if there are launch parameters, you come up here and then you click on launch. Okay, now it is launching, it is launched. Now you see the process monitor tab got opened automatically.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it is saying processing and it completed. Now if you double click on it, it will open up a log that what happened and all that stuff. That's it. Okay. So integration completed with warning. The status is this. Right, and this consolidated report viewer will show that load from workspace is it shows the component and the duration. Right now it is not, but then it will, I think. Yeah, that's fine. That you can check that later. But that's how. Did you, again to tell you, if you have, you go to Cloud Explorer, right? Go to the integration, first the tenant, go to the integration again, click on that arrow until you get to start here. Right click on that, and then you will have the integration launch, this launch integration stuff. Okay, so try doing both, running it from the tenant and running it from the studio.